Every little thing gonna be all right. Good morning. It's been a minute, yeah, or two or three since I've been here. January I was supposed to speak, and I was very ill for 2 months. So I showed up in June, right? So here I am today, but I will be here, what is this, September? I don't even know what month it is. I'll be here in October and November. Okay. Woohoo. And actually, it's so funny with November. Yeah, it is. I'll be speaking all three Unity churches that month: Athens, here, and Blairsville. And I'm so grateful. I love it. This is part of what I do, you guys know. But a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was telling Marlon earlier, my landlord said, Jeanie, you're going to need to move out by mid-November. And I went, what? Well, it's a family situation, and it needs to happen. So my housemate downstairs and we got to go. But in any case, I'm supposed to be moving first week by mid-November. So it'll be a busy month. I have no idea where I'm going. I would love to live up here somewhere, but that's just not really probably feasible for me right now. But I'm not throwing out the possibility. I just, don't worry, be happy. It was so perfect. Where'd Jennifer go? Yes. When you emailed back, and I told her what my topic was this morning, and then she already shared that, and I was like, could not be more perfect. And that was before I knew I needed to move. Go figure. Stillness. Ooh, when you hear that word, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm asleep.
I'm asleep. Okay. What'd you say? What? A lake. A lake. Okay. Anything else? Solitude. All right. Calm, quiet, meditation. Alone. Okay. Then the next question is, in your personal life, do you have a practice that allows you to cultivate this wonderful energy of stillness? Or is it just something like Marlon, I'm asleep, I'm still. Right? Or I go, I don't know how to be still because the world out there is telling me busy, 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 do. Even think of Unity's principles. What's the fifth principle? It's not enough to know, we must what? Do. Oh my goodness. What a contradiction. So it's like, okay. And I know for me personally, stillness has been part of my life for quite some time now, and I'm very grateful for it, along with mindfulness, but stillness in particular because it does offer us an opportunity to access an energy, a space, a frequency, if you will, a connection with the divine in a way that's really contrary to how we're wired. Because our nervous system and our mind, we hear monkey mind, we hear chatter going on all the time. So how could I possibly find a way to be still? How do I don't know. How do I do that? Psalm 46:10, very familiar with that. Be still and know. And I go, know what? Well, the rest of the scripture is what? Be still and know that I am God. And there's a lot more that goes to that. And as I was driving up here this morning, obviously I have a lot of wonderful information for this talk today. And I really took a look at it again this morning and driving up here. I thought, I've done this before. It needs to be a two-parter. Okay? It really does, because there's so much wrapped up in stillness that to just skim the surface this morning would not do it justice. It would not honor the transformative and healing power of stillness, in my personal opinion. And I'm seeing a lot of heads that are agreeing with me on that. And whether you are or aren't, I'm still going to do a two-parter, so that's okay. That's just the way it is. Be still and know that I'm going to do a two-parter, okay? There you go. All righty then. Because the last, since July 16th, and I'll share this on a personal note, because how many times have you heard me stand up here and say, we're doing our thing and life's kind of falling in place and everything's in divine order, I think. And I'm rolling along and, oh, wow, this is great. And all of a sudden, bam, something happens, right? Or not just one something, some things happen. You know, the WTH kind of moment, right? Remember, that's like willingness, trust, and heart, right? Okay. So anyway, so bottom line, real quick, I had hip replacement surgery in July. And I just want to tell you guys here, I love you so much. I love you so much because I remember 2 or 3 years ago, somebody was having a replacement, and what's her name? Who's not here? Sherry. I think she had 2, if I'm not mistaken. And several other people said, Jeanie, if you ever need to have a knee or a hip, this is where you need to go. That's where I went, right? Great doctor, right? I've been having complications, nerve compression complications, right? I'm in the 0.0000% of people who are having complications. Because I'm here, easy peasy, yada, yada, yada. And I thought, oh, this is preparing me for the talk in September on stillness. Because be still. Because I wasn't really supposed to be still, because they have you, I do the online PT. I was a massage therapist, a personal trainer. I know all about getting in shape and all of that. And I thought, okay. And I tell you what, I was very diligent. What am I saying? Like in our practices, we're doing all the things that we need to do, right? But something is still awry. Something is still off. So what do you do with that? I had plenty of time in between getting up and walking every few minutes and icing. Ice has always been my friend over the years. We are so intimate now, I can't even go into the details. I mean, I tell you, ice on me, I melt you, baby, right away. You're just melted, okay? So all I'm saying is, what we learn to do we not, is navigate life and how it shows up. Whatever it is, however hard it is, and then, with my landlord going, okay, you need to move. I went, really? Okay. So I just started laughing. And that's what I've been doing. And then Jennifer's music, when she emailed me, I'm like, perfect. And people are saying, Jeanie, where are you going to go? I said, I have no clue. I said, maybe Scotty will arrive sooner and I'll be on my home planet by then. I don't really know. But what I do know is when I don't get caught up in all of that. And in our human experience, what do we hear all the time? Human being, see, I messed it all up already. A spiritual being having a human experience. Oh, I've been in so much of the human experience. And I just go, it's okay, kiddo. It's okay, let yourself be in the human experience, because I have, and I really, I'm so, I don't like the word proud of myself. I just feel really good about the work I've been doing. And it's not about working harder and making it happen, but I put so much energy and focus into cultivating the observer. And I have some quotes. Eckhart Tolle, to be the stillness, the observer beneath everything that's going on. You've seen me up here a million times with my heart glasses on, so I can look through a different lens. And you better believe I'm going to say, do not spiritual bypass what is happening with you. Because I could do that. I could say, oh, you know what? I'm fine. It's good, whatever. I can say that on one hand, but there's another part of me that's going to say, yeah, okay, kiddo, but don't dismiss, don't deny there's something happening in your physical body right now. There's something happening in your personal life about needing to relocate again for the umpteenth time in the last 5 years. Okay? What I give meaning to, when something happens, it's the meaning that I assign to it. That's my choice. That's very similar to between stimulus and response, there's a space. You've heard me quote that ad nauseum from Viktor Frankl. So stillness, it's already there. Okay? It's already within. And if you align with Unity's principles, a power and presence, and around and through all things, what's the second one? That includes me and you. It's right here. So the thing is, what am I, here's the doing part again, to what? access that? Because I really want to enjoy and I want to experience the benefits, hi Rick, and the frequency of the consciousness, the state of stillness, and what is already there. So this morning, what I decided the focus of my talk would be is basically what I've already been saying. What is stillness? And we've kind of been defining that already. And the benefits of it, and different practices that help us cultivate that. And next month, I will focus more on what are some of the challenges that we have. You know, we try, Jeanie, I'm trying to find that still place, but it seems to elude me, or whatever the case may be. And the other thing, too, that's very important when you're talking about stillness or looking at it more deeply, it's calling you, it's inviting you to take a look at your, as you heard me say, your beliefs, your BS, your belief system. Because that's going to be at the core of, well, you know, so what about this stillness thing? Is there something already there? What is it? What do I call that? Or do I even have a name for it? Or maybe I'm in a phase in my life to where I'm going, you know what, I don't know that I believe anything right now. Because the world out there, it doesn't look so good and it doesn't feel so good. So it really is calling me. But I get to what? Decide if I'm going to respond to that and answer it. And be willing to go a little deeper. Be willing to truly be still and listen. You know, Unity's excuse me, principles about how do we cultivate, that's the fourth principle, I believe, is how do we cultivate a deeper connection with the divine? You know, prayer, meditation, and I bet everybody in here today has other things that they do, hopefully, and if not, that's okay, that allow you to access God, the divine, the ineffable. That's my favorite word for God, ineffable, because you can't give God a name. In only the way that you can. Because somebody else might share a story with you and say, well, you know, this is the God of my understanding. And I go, cool, tell me all about it. Right? Because if I hold to the paradigm and the belief that we're all one, I want to know because we're in the same field, right? So it's important to me just because it is. And I've decided that it is. And if I'm holding space and being still even with that person in their God expression, we get to share a very intimate moment, which to me is very sacred and holy. And that's what community is about. Every single one of you who are here today, even in your personal relationships, your intimate relationships, family, friends, all of it. Right now, learning to be still, if that's not something that's really at the core of what you do, I did the word do again, or are, you know, just bear with me, you know how I mean this morning in that context. If that's not something that's already a part of your spiritual practice repertoire, then I really invite you, to, even as I'm speaking right now, to notice what you're experiencing, even as I'm talking. There's a very, in my sensory experience right now, a very profound stillness in this sanctuary. And each and every one of you are part of creating that right now. So allow yourself to be receptive to that. I invite you to do that because each and every one of us is more powerful than we know. Because this stillness, this sacred space, is something, excuse me, the whole world and beyond needs now more than ever. Lynn McTaggart, I think is the woman's name, and the power of 8. And she does these circles. You're nodding your head. And when people come together very consciously, and the word will be intentionally, like you do here on Sundays, and even in other things that you may do, the word intention is key. So even when you are saying, I'm going to set aside some time today for stillness, I invite you to be very intentional about it. Not a goal that you have in mind. In fact, I invite you to let that go. Because we have a tendency to think, okay, it's got to feel like this. If I don't feel a certain way, kind of like meditation, when I teach meditation, people go, Jeanie, I'm just not getting it right. And I said, it's not about getting it right. It's about you discovering what's already there within you that you probably won't even ever have any words for. You'll have a sensory experience, perhaps. You'll just know it. And it won't need any explanation because it will be felt. Just like the still pond, when everything settles and it's clear. And then if you toss a pebble in there and it ripples out, same kind of metaphor. So important on so many levels for so many reasons. I came across this gentleman, I think he's a mystic if I remember reading correctly. God, the universe, your soul, they thrive within you. Stop searching outward. In stillness, you begin to sense and feel what's always been there. That's what I've been saying basically is that. You don't have to do a show of hands or anything, but just in your own mind right now, have you lost a sense of what's always been within you, more so lately? And if you have, I invite you to be willing to explore why that is. From a place of self-compassion, a place of non-judgment, just a place of an awareness that can offer you some insight. And in that insight is often the guidance already there waiting to lead you wherever it is that your soul is calling for you to go in your continued growth and evolution. Very powerful stuff if you really are with me this morning, and I think most of you are. See, it's been a while since I've been here, so I thought I'd come in really lighthearted and free and easy this morning so we can go, don't worry, be happy. Yeah. Okay. John O'Donohue, one of my favorite poets and writers. Stillness, and I just love this. I need to just have it tattooed. Stillness is where the soul reintroduces you to who you really are. Let me read that again. Just stillness is where the soul reintroduces you to who you really are. How cool is that? Or you might go, oh, I don't know if I want to know who I really am. I'm not so sure about that. My definition and the divine definition may be like in opposite camps. I don't know. Jeanie, that's a little scary. Okay. You know, it's like if you ask yourself out on a date, would you go? Right? Okay. I'll just leave it at that, right? Who are you really? Okay. Do I want to get to know you? I'm not so sure. Alrighty then. In this 3D experience, it's like, yikes. Okie dokie then. So that's what we're going to focus on a little bit more next time is taking a deeper dive. Like, who are you really? And more so than that, my favorite word is, what are you? That's what it is. You're not a who. That's your personality and all the conditioning and yada, yada, the name and all that stuff, you know, since you popped onto the planet. Maybe before, I don't know. You know, that's your journey. But But there's 4 things just real quickly, benefit-wise for stillness, and you're already aware of this, but I'll elaborate a wee bit more. A quiet mind allows for clarity. That's why I mentioned the clearness, okay? The modern world offers endless distractions, really? Okay, that can drown out our inner voice. So if you're not paying attention, okay, all of a sudden you can find yourself feeling that distance or feeling disconnected or ungrounded or whatever words you want to use. And it's like, wow, what's going on here? And if you're in touch with yourself and you're more aware, you'll be able to catch it more quickly. And that's a wonderful thing. Stillness allows our thoughts and emotions to settle like muddied water so we can see through the commotion to find inner clarity. That's what I was saying a minute ago. Our intuition speaks in silence. Okay? When we can truly, well, even for Jesus, when things had calmed, he goes, be still and know. So when you feel the fear creep in, or the doubt, or the uncertainty, or the not knowing, or whatever it is that your nervous system, because you're in this physical body, yeah, and you're going like this, and you're in fight or flight, and the sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive, and then the amygdala and everything else is going haywire, you're like, okay, breathe. And my favorite way to say is allow your breath to breathe you. That's my good thing for me to remember, because before I was like, come on, breath, where are you? And I was trying to get my breath right, and I'm trying to do the 4 square breathing, and the 7, 2, 4, 5, 6 breathing, and do the hokey pokey breathing, and all the different, and I'm not knocking breath work because it's very powerful. Pranayama breathing, you name it. All I'm saying is not getting caught up in how I'm doing it right now. Because all you're looking for in that moment is the next breath. The next breath. And your breath has been with you ever since perhaps you ever popped on the planet. It was like, aha, they're here. They have arrived. Uh-oh, we're in trouble now, right? So intuition, because in that moment when we are still and quiet, all that we need to know, that's a be still and know thing. Again, it's already there. So it's like that portal. It's like that gateway. Oh, because solutions, you cannot access them when you're in a state of panic, anxiety, fight or flight, freeze, all of it. It's not happening. Eckhart Tolle reminds us, stillness is like being underneath the thinker, and the stillness underneath the mental noise. So again, the soul is revealed beneath that surface. That is just so awesome. I just love that. It's in this state you can realize who you are at the deepest, most essential level. That's why I'm always talking about your essence. That's what you are in this amazing body. Reflection, which is part of stillness, if you bring that into your practice, fosters a connection to your authentic self. Because it's easy to go along your journey and lose parts of you. And all of a sudden you look in the mirror one day and go, I don't even recognize you anymore. Or you're at a part in your life to where, how did I get here? And where's that? And when I'm saying that, please hear me too, in that certain things no longer serve us. Absolutely. We grow through things, ideally, and we arrive at different levels of our evolution and expansion. That's part of the growth process. So sometimes going, okay, I'm not quite sure who I am right now, but you know what? I don't need to know all the details of that right now. Because what? If I know that I am a divine expression of the Most High, and I am one with that, I don't need to know the details. Because oftentimes when we go into that place of stillness, meditation or whatever, we want answers. I'm going into stillness because I need to know. Be still and know. Well, I need to know, and I need to know now, and I need to know the details, and I need to know everything about it, when it's going to happen, what it's going to look like. And I'm like, anybody else ever done that before? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that. Oh, yeah. Of course we do. And that just gives us a chance to have a little humor, put our arms around ourselves and say, come on, I got you. Let me love on you a moment with some compassion and kindness. Say, it's okay. It's all right. You know, it's like, I guess I'll know when I'm meant to know. Stillness is a form of self-care. That's one thing I really love. I hadn't heard it language like that, but I totally agree with that. Allows you to process emotions and confront inner turmoil. This, I've kind of already said this, without judgment. There's an acceptance there. There's compassion that you can embrace, all of it. And again, this we'll talk about next time. If you're going, I can't embrace that part of me, Jeanie. I'm not able to. I'm like, okay. Are you open to taking a look at why that might be? Maybe something is calling up to be healed or embraced or just given the opportunity to be seen. I don't know. This deep reflection helps you to understand your beliefs, desires, and identity rather than, again, being defined by external expectations. Anybody ever lived their life at any point in time, and perhaps even now, as how somebody else is defining it for you and what they think you ought to or show? Okay, I see a few hands, fingers going up. Okay, I'm glad I've never done that. You know? I promise my pants are not on fire. Okay. But yeah, I'm now for so long, that was like, yeah, okay. I like this by Lao Tzu, familiar with him, with Taoism. Excuse me. To the mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders. Yes, because to me, surrender is essential to really go into stillness. You got to lay it all down. Any agenda, anything you have going in there with you, it's like coming in the door with beginner's mind and laying all your stuff outside the door. But what? If you're not aware that you have stuff, right, or anything, you're going to go, hey, I'm good. I don't have anything I need to leave outside the door. You know, beginner's mind, what's that? I go, well, that's a clue right there, right? Anyway, Ram Dass, the quieter you become, the more you can hear. You know, Jennifer, as I'm reading some of these, I'm thinking about you with music. Even when you are inspired with songs and lyrics and notes and all of that, I'm sure you've got certain things that you just like, probably come to you out of nowhere, and then other things that just like, you're in a space and like, whoa, there it is. Even my talks, I know I used to prepare. Are you kidding? During the week now, I'll see a few things, and then this morning I got up at 5 o'clock, looked at my notes, and I went, okay, this is what I was called to talk about today. And then driving up here, even as I said, oh, it's going to be a two-parter. Okay? So it really is in the moment, and it's not about having some, I don't want to call it structure, framework about things in your life. I'm not saying that, but it's not being so tightly wound that there's no room for anything else. And that's what we do with our relationship with the God of our understanding a lot of times. It's like, this is not happening in the way that I had in mind. And that can certainly attest to that for the last 2 months. Are you kidding me? Well, even beginning of the year, I was sick for 2 months out of nowhere. I've never canceled a talk at a Unity church. And I'm like, what? I've lost 25 pounds since the beginning of the year. Had I planned to? No. People go, what's going on with you? I said, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going with it, but I'm getting stronger. So anyway, all I'm saying is don't worry. Be happy. Yes. Ah, yes. Herman Hesse, within yourself is a stillness, a sanctuary, and I love this, to which you can retreat at any time. At any time. So when all that's going on out there, and I'll even say when all this is going on within you, Keep in mind what you're referring to. Is it your human you? Because your higher self can integrate with your human self in that moment and say, hey, I'm right here, remember? You're allowing your human self to block me out. And that's not a criticism. It's not a judgment. It's saying, okay, I'm aware. And what can I do right now to fill up that space with the wisdom that my higher self, that's inherent in my higher self, my true self, my divine nature. That's God in you, as you, speaking to you, moving through you, animating as you. No doubt about it. Stillness is the beginning of conscious action. Because typically we're more unconscious in doing things that we're not aware of when we are caught up in the hamster wheel or the mind or whatever it is. We're caught up, we're outside the hurricane and all of that. We're not in the eye. And when you truly become aware, and that's the key, remember, oh, I'm aware that I'm letting that impact me. You're the only one who can flip that switch and change it. It's taking responsibility and owning what's going on with you. A couple more quotes and then I'll wrap up. I came across this gentleman, Charles Lattimore Howard, Chaz he goes by. He's an Episcopal priest, theologian. He's actually chaplain at the University of Pennsylvania. He wrote a book called Pond, River, Ocean, Rain, Finding Peace in the Storms of Life. And I love how he says this, inaction sometimes is the greatest action we can take. Stillness is sometimes the most important move we can make. Kind of like to say, not making a choice is making a choice. So inaction, truly just being still. It's not about laziness, because some people say, oh, great, my talk was what? The art of doing nothing, the art of stillness, doing nothing, right? What was the actual title of my talk? Oh, Stillness, the art of doing nothing. They thought, wow, Jeannie's going to say we can do nothing and we're all right. Sure, you can do nothing. That's okay. But there's really great ways to do nothing, and that points to that with inaction as the greatest action we can take. And then one other quote. St. John of the Cross. I had heard of him before, was not familiar with him. In the inner stillness where meditation leads, the Spirit secretly anoints the soul and heals our deepest wounds. So I'll be exploring stillness as a healing transformative power, even more so next week. He's actually a Spanish Roman Catholic priest, mystic, and poet. And he did some work with St. Teresa Avila. Teresa, I think that's how you say her name. But this quote is great. Strive to preserve your heart in peace. Let no event of this world disturb it. Okay? Say that one more time. Strive to preserve your heart. Because remember, this is not going to get you out of all of that out there. This is. So make that long journey right here and find that space, that inner coherence, heart coherence. I know you've heard me say it a million times. Coherence to where you are in that state. Strive to preserve your heart in peace. Let no event of this world disturb it. So as I say that right now, we are going to move into meditation. And I told Jennifer earlier, I'm going to use a chime to begin it and through it a little bit, so she's not going to be playing any background music. How many of you are familiar with a Koshi chime?